Shabbat Shalom to everybody, and welcome to Hers Yahudin Messianic Temple here in Lake Placid, Florida. I am a servant, Maria Simpson, and thank you for inviting us into your homes, your car, wherever it is that you have your cell or your computer. I believe that this message today is very enlightening, especially for couples. It is very profound and it's very intense. And if you want to know more about your spouse, about how men and women think, stick around, because I believe that this message will help you. And really the title of this message today is called His and Hers Awekening. But really is his and her higher awakening. Does happiness exist in a marriage? The answer to that is yes. When we get married, will we have any problems? Couples, will they have any problems? Definitely yes. Why do I say this? Well, my husband and I, we've been married for 41 years. We have had our ups and downs, and mostly ups. Very few downs, but ups and downs. He's not perfect, and neither am I. And, marriage is, to understand marriage and to understand a higher awakening in a relationship, it is very important to connect with each other. And connecting with each other is not just sex. Sex is part of a relationship. Sex is awesome, but it's more than that. It's more than that. What is it that you're looking for in your relationship? What is it that you're looking for in your husband, in your wife, in him and her? What is it that you're looking for? Well, I want him to love me more, and I want him to pay attention to me. This is women. Men say, well, I don't want her nagging anymore, and I really don't want her talking too much. When I tell her, please, let's quit it. Marriage, what I have found out in my years of married life and in coaching and seeing relationships and husbands and wives belittling each other and so on and making jokes and this is this and that is that. Marriage is a commitment. It's respect, it's communication. But really marriage is really understanding the other person. When you don't understand your husband or your wife, it's because there's something about them that you don't understand. And what a lot of people or a lot of couples, a lot of men and women, husbands and wives, what they do is they make jokes with other people about their spouse. And that is not acceptable. It's not acceptable here in the earth, and it's not acceptable in heaven. It's not acceptable. Because how can you make fun of somebody that has given you the best? Now, I'm not talking about abuse. That's another issue. Many are saying, what is he saying? What is she saying? How can two people living under the same roof talk different language and begin speaking gibberish to each other? Marriage has gotten a really bad rap lately, and it's entirely unjustified. Decades of human studies, well-being provide the same conclusion constantly. By every measure, marriage wins over staying single or living without ceremony with another individual. See, marriage is many say, well, it's just a piece of paper. Well, Adam and Eve did not have another piece of paper. And yes, you do marry and you sign, and you sign the dotted line and it's an agreement. But see, it's just like winning the lottery. Can you imagine when it's got the winning number? Can you imagine what you get out of it? Unbelievable results. Men and women, and before I tell you what the awakening is, I have to tell you a little bit about marriage and a little bit of men and women, so you could understand. Maybe you could understand after we're done, you're going to understand your husband better, your wife better. You're going to understand your boyfriend, your girlfriend. You're going to understand the person you're living with, relationship-wise. Men and women throughout the history of humanity have always sought each other, not only by instinct, but also to build a social structure called family. However, in spite of the fact that men and women have lived together for thousands and thousands of years, there is still a mutual knowledge of their abilities, preferences, attitudes, feelings, and thoughts, which consequently results in little comprehension and acceptance among both of them. Now, when you take somebody in marriage, you're taking and you say, I do. You're taking their flaws, their strengths, their insecurities. You're taking everything they have, including the baggage they come with of unresolved problems from their youth. And that's another issue in marriage. Because see, marriage in total is very profound, and there's many avenues. But today I'm going to speak about His and Hers Awakening, which means a higher awakening. In the book of Amos, chapter 3, verse 3, it is written, can two walk together unless they are in agreement? Now, if I were to take that verse, prophetically speaking, it really is talking about Judah and Ephraim walking together in what they believe in the Bible, and so on and so on and so on. But if I take that in a marriage way, can two walk together if they don't come in agreement? Everything in the Bible, everything in creation, everything that has been done, marriage, children, money, love, excitement, food, anything, is so in the spiritual world. And in the Bible it says that His secrets, He says that the Most High will not do anything unless He reveals His secrets to His servant, to the prophet, the servant, the prophets, His prophets. Now, what I'm about to reveal to you in about 5 minutes, it's something that is supernatural when it comes to a man and a woman. And I'm talking about the way they think, the way they do, what one wants and the other one, what one needs and what the other one doesn't need. We have to understand that. Now, everything that is created has laws. Natural laws, spiritual laws, nature laws, weather laws, traffic laws. Everything is by laws. And what happens is, including marriage, when we break marriage laws, okay, we will suffer. Now, because in the book of Leviticus, if you can go with me, because this is very, very, to me, is very profound, because I too at one time wanted to know it's my husband's fault. It's my husband's fault. It's my husband's fault. He doesn't, no. And you know what? It came to be that from not knowing each other's understanding of how a woman and a man thinks, we came to the point after 17 years, we were divorced. That's amazing. We were divorced for 3 months. And we came back and we got married. And in our lives, okay, in my husband, our marriage, really is very profound and very solid and very strong. And no matter how many things, negative things that I might think, or maybe I'm still under construction, and so is my husband. The main thing in our lives really has been the Creator. In our marriage, the Creator. In our love, the Creator. In our intimacy, the Creator. I'm talking about our marriage. We have made Him the number one in our lives. Now what Pastor Patty Cake says that we have to, you have to accept abuse from your husband because he's the head. Well, the husband is the head. But the woman is the neck that turns the head here and there and everywhere, okay? This is not a competition thing. It really is not. I am not better than my husband. My husband's not better than me. But we respect each other. Because marriage and relationship is about respecting, communicating, understanding. And this happens as you go along. And then what happens is you begin to value the person that you're with. Because when we allow the secular world, society, to tell us what is marriage, most of us, oh yeah, sure, I'm going to get married today. If it doesn't go well, I'm going to get a divorce. Well, that's okay and dandy, because at one time I used to think like that, and I used to believe, but not anymore, unless my husband abused me. No, there's no abuse in marriage. That's wrong. But look at what it says in Leviticus chapter 26, verse 23 and 24. Can two walk together unless they come in agreement? And it is written. Now this is the Most High. And if you will not be reformed by me, by these things, and will not walk contrary, and you will walk contrary unto me, okay? Then I will walk contrary unto you, and I will punish you 7 times for your sins. Now and I'm speaking in marriage. What am I talking about when it comes to this? Well, everything we do is laws. Marriage, it is not only a heavenly law, it is a civil law. And when you enter a marriage agreement, and after 10, 20 years, you begin to make fun of your wife or your husband, and you make fun of each other, and you don't understand each other, and you cannot stand each other. What happens is, there's something about your wife and your husband that you, to this day, don't understand, and that's why you're having problems. Besides the luggage that, both of you have carried from the beginning, that you come from when you were young, unresolved problems in the marriage. Wow. And that will be my next topic next week. Walking together in a healthy relationship is about accepting each other's strengths, flaws, imperfections, deficiencies, failures, and possibilities. You are completely embracing him or her as a part of yourself forever, as you are rejecting all others. How can you, and I'm speaking to wives, I'm speaking to husbands, I'm speaking to women, I'm speaking to men. How can you understand your spouse when you don't even understand who you are?
No, that's messed up.
Put yourself in his shoes or her shoes. How would you deal with someone like yourself? Huh. What would you do if the person that you're dealing with is the kind of character that you have. For a relation to be healthy, we must see the other person from a different perspective to understand him or her. For things to change in our lives, the first that needs to change is ourselves. Marriage is not about looking at the other person and looking at all their defects and their problems, and they don't know how to talk, and why doesn't he love me, and why doesn't he care for me, and why doesn't she cook for me. It's looking at yourself. People ask me all the time, Maria, is there such a thing as a healthy relationship? Or what is it like? Or does it really exist, a healthy relationship? There are no perfect relationships. There is no Prince Charming. There's no knight shining blue, whatever, that is going to take, and you're Rapunzel, and you're going to take your hair and you're going to follow it so he can climb and take you out of the castle somewhere that you've been for a gazillion years. There's no such thing, okay? If you are looking for the perfect person, the perfect partner, the perfect spouse, the perfect husband, the perfect wife, you will find many frustrations. Living happily ever after only exists in fairy tale stories. Ask anybody that has been married for over 20 years. It doesn't mean that they're happy. Okay? Because I'm going to tell you, my husband and I were happy. Now that we have gone through a lot in our marriage, oh yes. But see, people who are committed, they don't give up easy. People who are committed in their marriage to make it work, they don't give up easy. Are you prepared for a healthy relationship? Do you want a healthy relationship with a person that you're with right now?
Yes,
Yes or no?
Yes. Yes.
Get ready for this.
Of course.
Not only to enter into a healthy relationship, but if you are prepared to participate in the relationship. Yes or no?
Yes.
What do I mean? The concept of taking somebody in marriage is to accept him or her completely as they are. Now, this is where I'm going to go a little deeper. What does it mean when it says they will become, when the Bible says, and the two will become one flesh? Now, pay attention, please, really, to what the words that I'm going to say to you. In the beginning was the Word. And the Word was with Elohim. And the Word was Elohim. What does that mean? The Word was male and female. The word Elohim is male and female. Genesis chapter 1, verse number 26. Look at what it says. See, the scriptures is not to read it. Really, it's not to read it. It is to dissect it. It is to meditate on one letter, one word, not a whole sentence, one letter, one word, and then you meditate on what? You understand on the verse. Look at what it says in Genesis chapter 1, verse number 27. So Elohim created man in his own image, female and male.
There it is.
Okay? In the image of Elohim created he
Them.
him.
Them.
He created male and female, created he them. Before Adam was asleep, that Elohim took his rib, the male and the female were created together. Because this is where Elohim, God, is Echad. He is one. The female and the male were created together. The man and the woman were separated. There's a difference. In marriage, when you don't understand your spouse, the part that you are not understanding is the male or the female part. Because the male and the female is in the mind. The man and the woman is in the body. Are you with me? Now, let me continue. We think that when we're having problems in a marriage, that automatically we go out and we gotta buy a new car.
Yeah, dog.
We're gonna buy a new car. We're gonna get somebody new in our life. For a lot of older men, they want the latest model, 22 years old, with everything that is the features that it's got. It's all electronics, because now you got big fake boobs, fake this, fake that, and you got the pear shape and all this stuff. Oh my goodness! If other men sees me with this new model of a wife, the trophy wife, sort of speaking.
2022.
And the young woman that is 22 is looking for a daddy.
Yeah.
A sugar daddy. Really a sugar daddy. And when she has found that sugar daddy, I'm going to tell you as a woman, she will do whatever he wants in bed. Because that's what he wants, bed. Because men think more about sex and women think more about love. And while sugar daddy goes out, the other younger one comes in, because you know what? You got to take care of my business, sweetie. Come on in.
Charlie comes in.
Because this one, sugar daddy, is taking care of my money business, but you're taking care of my desire business. Ooh. Now watch this. I stumbled across a poem, and this comes from Paulo Coelho. He's Spaniard. And it really captured my soul. And I thought the message was so powerful that I wanted to share it with you. Before I finish, before I start reading the poem, since I am pressed for time with all of you, whatever I don't finish here, I will continue next week with you. Because when I'm done here, I continue here, and whoever's here. Now watch what it says, this poem. People come into our lives for 3 different categories. They come, number 1, for a reason. They come, number 2, for a season. And they come for a lifetime.
Wow.
Nobody crosses by chance. People enter your life for a reason, for a season, or for the whole life. When you perceive the person or the reason, you will know what to do with that person. Now, these are people that are in your life for a reason. When someone is in your life for a reason, it is generally to fill the need you have shown to have. They come to help you with a difficult, providing support and guidance, physical, emotional, and spiritual help. They may seem like a gift from God, and they are. Then, without any wrong attitude or your part in an uncertain time, that person will say or do something to bring the relationship to an end. What we must understand is that our needs have been met already. Our wish is fulfilled and their work was done. Now that's the person that comes for a reason. Number 2. Now this is the poem. When people enter our lives for a season, it is because they came to distribute growth and learn. They bring the experiences of peace and make you laugh. They teach you something you have never done. These are people that are in your life for a season. So stop saying, why is so-and-so not in my life? Well, they're not supposed to be there anymore. And you have tried and you see still disconnect. Stop. If you love somebody, let them go. If they never come back, they were never yours. And if they do come back, it's because they always have been yours. Let me tell you, nothing happens for coincidence. Number 3, relationship of life lessons. And these are relationships that will stay with you your whole life. Things that you must build to have a solid emotional formation. Your task is to accept the lesson this person is in your life for your whole life. You need to accept they're there to teach you something. They're there to teach you and accept the lesson, love that person, and put into practice what you have learned in all your relationships and areas of your life. Every human being that we have a relationship with, if there's something that we learn from them. If something, which you have heard this saying, if something is not broken in your life, don't fix it. Yeah. Why do you want to fix something that is not broken? What you're gonna do, you're gonna dismantle something, and you're gonna mess up something that is really good, that is operating completely the way it should, and now you're going to break it. This is where divorce, and this is separation, this is where abusing, this is where in relationship, and don't do this. Also, that happens too because of things that you have brought, things that you have learned from when you were young. But that's not the message today. When you experience these kind of connections, the best way is to attract the people you love into your life, and is to relax and fill your being with love. Never force a relationship. Let it flow naturally. Nothing that is destined for you is going to fail you to arrive. It will come. In the right time, at the right station, at the right second, at the right moment. But stop making marriages the way you think it should be. Marriage is not a living together kind of deal. Well, we're married and you're going to do this, and we're just going to pretend that we love each other, and we're going to be so many years there because we're going to raise the kids and all this stuff. Well, that's not a marriage. That is a verbal contract. And many marriages are living like that today. Forgive and send love to everyone you meet as they are going through their own life experiences, and thank them for everything they are teaching you. Nothing happened by accident. Every situation, every person, every problem, every event, every experience takes you exactly where you need to be. Now, marriage is not natural for mankind. Because before you sign that dotted line that you are going to be married, you marry that person spiritually. How? When you say the word, I do. You are confessing an I do commitment. That is called spiritual marriage. Because marriage is not natural. Marriage is spiritual. It is divine. It is sacred. It is kadosh. It is holy. And you'll see why in a little bit. Marriage has divine. It reflects Elohim's, God's intention to share the gift of love and joy between two people who has different souls, becoming one in intimacy. For this reason, a man, which is the male, will leave his father and his mother and be joined to his wife, the woman, the female, the counterpart. And they shall become one flesh. And it says this is the great mystery about marriage. Now, the most frequent cause of conflicts that produce separations or divorces in couples is an erroneous interpretation of their perceptive behaviors. In other words, the lack of understanding of what happens in the other person's brain. Because it is proven fact that males and females' brain respond differently to the same situation. I am not a scientist. I am not a neurologist. I am not a doctor. But what I am going to explain to you is science proof exactly how the brain and the mind works. Okay? Now, to understand your husband, your wife, your partner, there must be a spiritual awakening. This is why the message today is titled His and Her Awakening. If you don't understand your spouse or the person you're with, it's because spiritually in your mind you are sleeping. You're not awake. You're in darkness. And that's why you're having such a hard time and you don't comprehend him or her. Because what it means to be, for your awakening means there's going to be a higher consciousness. What do I mean? Okay. Let me see how I'm going to say this. Can we turn? Brother, can we turn? Oh, no. No, okay. Okay. Men and women brain, our minds are completely wired different according to science. For example, let me give you an example. When a man and a woman, or when a husband and wife, they're talking to each other and something that bothers them. For example, when I talk to my husband and I'm saying to him something that is bothering me about any situation, the flowers died and that is bothering me and I feel bad and all this. My husband, when he's listening to me, being the male, he doesn't feel what I'm saying to him. He's using logics. When my husband speaks to me on something that's troubling him, I don't use logic. Women don't use logic. Women use feelings, emotions. So you got two people opposite of each other, thinking completely different from each other. It's not that we are in a competition. It's not that one is better than the other. It's just that we are different. Now watch this. What is the number one thing men think about the most? Sex. Sex in the morning, sex in the afternoon, sex at night, sex when they're dreaming, sex and sex. I'm serious. I am very serious. What is it most likely that women think about the most? Feeling. Nothing more than feelings. Feelings of being cared for, feelings to being hugged, feelings that I want a kiss from him, feelings that he respects me, feelings. So you got two people thinking two different things. And these two people think from two different sides of the brain. Men use the left side, women use the right side.
We got a problem, Houston.
Watch this. Left brain men, They use logic and reason, and they use determination, and they use verbal. Like sometimes, when they scream and all this stuff, mathematical. They use numbers. Self-oriented. They're direct. They are detail focus. There are mimicry. I didn't understand what the word mimicry means, but mimicry really means they mock her. They mock. They mock their wives. They mock their girlfriend. They mock the other person, the women. Have you ever seen a bunch of men together? And a lot of times what they do, they make fun of their wives. Well, take my wife if you can. Take it. Please take her. Rodney Dangerfield is one of them. Yeah. That is not acceptable. That is a fool talking. A fool speaking. Because if that woman is not your compatibility, and you don't feel right with that woman, you know what the best thing to do? And even though I don't believe in divorces, you know what? Say goodbye and separate. But don't make fun of women. Because that's very low. When you make fun of your wife, you're making fun of your mother, your sister, your daughters. You're making fun of other women. Because you know what? Because constantly we are used to this in the secular world. And what also is the left brain? Purposeless, determination, numbers, and the left side of the brain controls the right side of the body. Now let's see what the right side of the brain, which is the women. Intuition, emotions, personal feelings, visual, group-oriented, relationship. You picture as a whole. You picture whole. You focus on the whole. Creativity. Your playfulness, which means you're fun. You want to dance. You want to jump up and down. And man in the left side is purposefulness. In other words, determination. You know what? Sit down. Come on. What's up with you? Aren't you embarrassed? No, I'm not. And you begin to mock each other. And what happens is the right side of the brain controls the left side of the body. Now, watch this. When you injure the left side of your brain, this is what happens. You will have difficulty understanding spoken and written language. 2, you will have difficulty expressing spoken and written language. I'm sorry, I repeated, sorry. 2, you change your speech. Verbal memory issue. You will have problems with that. You will have impaired logic. You will have sequencing difficulty. Now, that's the left side. When you damage the right side of your brain, it causes impairment in attention. Left neglect. You will have memory issues. You will have decreased awareness of deficit. You will have loss of big picture thinking. And you will alter the creative and music perception. Now, these two brains, males and females, is the same two brains that you marry with a lot of issues. That we think that when we get married, the honeymoon is going to be completely all the time for 100 years. Yeah. Not knowing that in a couple of days, a couple of weeks, maybe a year, whatever it is, you come to reality. And now what you didn't see before in this person, now you're seeing after so many years of marriage. Well, this is not the man I married. Why is he like this? What's wrong with him? What's going on? Honey, don't you remember when you used to send me flowers and you used to bring chocolate and we used to sit down in coffee shops and we used to sit in the library and I used to give you notes and what happened to that? Don't you love me? What does the man say? Well, what do you mean if I didn't love you? If I didn't love you, I wouldn't be with you. That's not what she wants to hear. And then what happens? The male wants to have sex. Start looking like a peacock all over the house. Between a peacock, a lion, and a lion. A peacock, a rooster, and a lion. I said, the woman looks at it, the wife looks at it and goes, okay, this man is I know, she knows what's going on. She pretends, watch this, because it is a stupid game that men and women constantly are playing. She says, oh my God, I want him to hug me, and I want him to love me, and I want him to care for me, and I want him to feel, I want to feel his hands. So what I gotta do, I gotta pretend that I want sex.
I don't know what.
Watch this.
You gotta pretend she wants sex.
Oh.
You know why? You know why? Because men will fake love to get an orgasm, and women will fake an orgasm to get love. And very, very few couples really come and they become who they're supposed to be. Listen very carefully. Where's my notes? Oh, here they are. Okay. The whole issue of marriage, since it's divine, it is the issue that when he created the male and the female, he created them completely together, but when they sinned, there was a separation from the female and the male. And now, from that moment in the Garden of Eden, what happens is the male and the female, when they are born, they're constantly seeking each other, so they can become one. Because when you become one, this is when you are in intimacy. It is beyond having sex. When you are in intimacy between a husband and a wife, this is where you find the female you were looking for. This is where you get that urge and you get that desire, and you say, wow, I don't want to move, I don't want to do this, this is awesome. Why? Because this is where the two, the male and the female, becomes one. And how does this happen? It happens because one receives and the other one gives. That is it. A man and a woman cannot have intimacy. A man and a woman will have sex. A husband and a wife will have intimacy when they know who they are. Because when you get married, you don't call each other man and woman. You call each other husband and wife. For this reason, the man will leave his father and his mother, and he will be joined to his what? He will to his what? To his female part. Because men and women use two hemispheres of their brain differently. We use different ways of thinking. And what happens is when we don't understand the concept of male and female and how important that is, and also when you don't understand her needs and his needs, it's not about myself, it's about my husband's needs. When a husband and wife understands each other's needs, there's going to be healthy relationship, happiness. But when a husband wakes up in the morning, or a wife wakes up in the morning, because now it's husband and wives, and the first thing you have in your hands is the cell, is electronics. Let me tell you, you are putting more attention to things that doesn't mean anything, doesn't care anything about you. And a lot of marriages are breaking up because of electronics. I believe in electronics. I have a cell, but you know what? I have my limits. And I know I said this before, but honestly and truly, how important is your marriage to you? What needs to change in your marriage? What is your husband's needs? What is your wife's needs? Do you really think that if you don't have it with this woman, did you know if you don't make it with this woman, or with this man that you're going to go somewhere else and the other person is going to compliment you? How can somebody compliment you when you're not complimenting anybody? You're not complimenting the person that you're with. And if you're in a relationship and you are not thinking about her needs or his needs, then you're selfish. You are very selfish, and this is why your relationship is not working. Men and women think different. Men and women have different needs, different desires. When they speak different languages. And for you to understand and be in a healthy relationship, you have to understand how she thinks, how he thinks. In what mode is he talking about? In what mode is she talking about? Because sex, let me tell you, sex is like a jigsaw puzzle. How is that? The last two pieces are missing. One is like this and the other one like this. Tick, 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 tick. Oh, I found it. Oh, Eureka, I finished. Eureka, I finished. one of the sisters, she's laughing. She goes, I can't believe she's saying that. You know why I'm saying that? Because we have to be real. If we want a healthy relationship, it is not about A and B going together and that's it. You have to understand why A and B is doing that. You have to understand who is the fertilizer and who is the seed. Who is the fertilizer in that intimacy? It's not about that you're going to have a harem of women. Or it's not for women to have a bunch of relationships with different men. That's not divine. It's not divine. He made animals to do that. And if you notice that there are some animals in the animal kingdom that they will mate for life. One of them is an eagle. The other one is a squirrel. And there's a couple more I can't remember. They mate for life. But the rest is whoever, whatever, come and get your love. It's over here. Come and get your love.
That's how people are nowadays.
This is why marriage, it is very kadosh. It is very sacred. And when you understand that, you don't abuse the other person. You don't abuse that person in any way. And when a man abuses his wife in any way, sexually, mentally, or whatever, it's because that man has problems that comes from wherever he comes from. Insecurities. He's got fears. And when a woman, believe it or not, there are women that will abuse their husbands. I knew one that used to spit in his eyes in front of people.
Space.
If a woman abuses her husband, she also has problems. Something must have happened to her. She must have gotten sexually abused somewhere along the way. I got to continue. When we were created, we were not created a male and a female. We were created together. Just like the mind, the brain is together. There's one side. There's one side of the body and there's another side of the body. Okay? We were not created as male and female. We were created completely together. It is being created. Look at this. But is the being created. The one that was created was the man and the woman. But the gender, the female and male was not. The fact is the created being is feminine. Look at Yahweh, Elohim is feminine. Because the creator created the desire in women through him. The force, the light that created the desire is masculine. The creator is the masculine part of the feminine part is the created being. One part cannot work without the other. As a result, there is male and there is a female. After all, it is impossible for the light to exist without the container, and the container exists without the light, or a more without or a more without a less, and a less without more. Therefore, everything is based on the union of opposite that is the subject of creation. For example, heaven and earth, up and down, north and south, light and darkness, east and west, positive, negative, black and white, light being all the colors and black being that there's no color. Okay? So everything works in opposites. Everything. The created being consists initially of masculine parts, which then created the feminine part, which means that the light created the desire, and then the desire changes itself and resembles the light. The essence of a man and a woman in our world is to reach their spiritual roots and reside there in the connection between them according to the spiritual law. Then they reach a perfect and eternal state of spiritual journey. This is your purpose in this world. When a husband and wife have intimacy, when they both come to that part that is not human, there you meet your maker. There is when you go back to the Garden of Eden. There you are feminine and you are male. There you are completely one with him. What is the fundamental difference between them? This is Dr. Lehman. The difference between them is absolute. In our world, we do not feel how opposed they are to each other. In fact, there is nothing more opposite and contrasting than a man and a woman in their spiritual roots. Actually, it is a gift from above to the difference over which there must be a connection. When marriage does not connect, that marriage begins to die. And how do you connect in marriage? In marriage, you connect, number one, with love. You connect when you understand. You connect when there's respect. You connect when there's commitment.
Communication.
Excuse me?
Communication.
You connect when there's communication. And none of those are physical. All of those are spiritual. In intimacy, you might start physically, but intimacy, you end spiritual. I am speaking from the point of view of nature, from a spiritual perspective. I am not interested in feminists. And I know I'm going to touch some stones today, but I don't care. I'm not talking in the view of feminists, how feminists think. This is totally irrelevant to me and has nothing to do with framework, how it operates, according to feminists. Because I do not accept and I don't believe that women should be belittling men. And I also don't believe that men should be belittling women. Because the moment that I belittle my husband, I'll be belittling my father, my grandsons. I'll be belittling my brothers. I'll be belittling people, men that I know, and I'll be belittling the Creator. That is not acceptable to me. I recognize the wisdom of the Creator, which speaks of the created being. The way it was created, how it was created, and how it was developed. When you get married, as a female and male, what happens is your mind is still being developed because now you really are getting to know this person that you married, that you thought it was one way, and in reality it's another. How it was divided by two opposite parts in the beginning. How the two parts that derive from the first root move away from each other, then reconnected and complemented each other. These is what is called the male and the female parts. And when you are not married to your soulmates, because there is such a thing, soulmates. And I know I brought a teaching on that at once, but I'm going to tell you that's even more profound. If you haven't found your soulmate because you decided to hanky-panky and do whatever and elope and do this, whatever you wanted to do, either you will learn how to love each other, or that relationship will be destroyed and your soulmate will come to you, even if it's only for one day before you die. We can attribute very little of what the wisdom of man can tell us about a man and a woman in this world. Because in this world, whatever man thinks is okay. But I believe very little of that. Because we are very far from resembling spiritual attributes and objects. This means that we are neither men or women in the spiritual sense, because angels do not have sex. Angels do not multiply. And angels are neither one or the other. And this is exactly how we were created until we sinned. And there was a separation. And now for us to reproduce, okay, other clones like us, the only way to make it is not being created. So what happens? There comes intimacy. There's reproduction. This means that it's either men or women in a spiritual sense, but something that is in the middle. Something that has been unfinished. This is why you're having problems with your spouse. Something that is not finished, and you can finish it. We have to go through the whole evolutionary process, then we will realize how we can complement each other and become a perfect whole. This means becoming like the Creator. What does it mean to come awake? And I only got 5 minutes with all of you. Listen very carefully. What does it mean to be awakened? To be awakened is in a state of spiritual awareness. It's an enlightenment. And really, this is a state that your 5 senses are not operating anymore. Your natural senses, you're seeing, you're hearing, you're smelling, you're touching, you're eating, your taste. You're in a different awareness. When you are in this awakening, what awakens is your spirit man. And your spirit man, really, what awakens is your brain. It's your frontal lobe. And what happens is, this means that you will have a higher consciousness. An awareness full of love and peace. This is one of the signs of spiritual awakening. Is the world. You will see a world that is brighter. You will see a world that is more fascinating. You will see your spouse more beautiful, more handsome. You will see the place right here in this world, a more beautiful place. You will see the beauty of the landscape. You will see the sky and then the sea. You will even see strangers as different. Complexity is not going to be for you. You're going to see animals and plants. Things will change completely, because in this awakening, you are no longer in your 5 senses. You will begin to love your wife more. You will begin to understand your husband better. You will begin to give the needs of each other. Because the more you provide for the need of your husband and wife, the more they will do for you, and the happier and healthier marriage you will have. In this awakening, look at this, in this awakening, the past, the present, and the future is less important. I'm sorry, the past and the future is less important. The present is what is important. And really what becomes more important is really the present moment. Even though some people learn and evolve spiritually, the way faster the other, spiritually is faster. The truth of the matter is that we are all heading to the same direction. No matter if we are walking, stumbling, juggling, marathoning through life, we are all heading home. Yeshua said, in the resurrection, there's neither going to be, you're not going to marry, because you're going to be like angels. And I believe, this is just me, that a lot of times they don't go beyond that awakening is because they're scared. In spiritual awakening experiences, this needs to be identified and belonging. In other words, what fades away when you're in this awakening is that I need to belong. You stop that, because now you're in a spiritual awakening, that you know who you are, what you want, what you don't want. You understand him better. She understands you better. And it's unbelievable, the love and the understanding and how you will live. It doesn't mean you're not going to have issues with each other at times. Because remember, we live in this world. We're not of this world. We're just here in a journey. And when you're in this spiritual awakening, let me tell you what happens. You get rid of the labels. You get rid of the labels. You are no longer feel like an American. You don't feel like a Jew. You don't feel like a scientist. You don't feel like a Christian. You don't feel like a Cuban. You don't feel like a socialist. You don't feel any pride in their in the nationality. You don't feel any pride in what the ethnic you came from or qualification. You don't really put too much attention about your career, because it's a title. It's not about your title, your achievements, how fast you ran, or how much weight I lost. You forget. You really truly forget about all this, because now you're in a different awareness. You're in a higher awareness. That before, when you were not in awareness, you want to be accepted so much you went out of your way, even in your marriage, even in your relationship, even in your job, even wherever you are, because you want to be accepted. But when you're in this higher level, in this higher awareness, when you're in this light, when you're in this spiritual being, when you understand how profound this is, none of that is going to matter. Because now what's going to matter is love, is joy, is happiness, is blessing and dancing and smiling and singing and enjoying. It is totally different. Because when you are not in your natural senses, you are in a heavenly sense, where nothing is missing, nothing is lacking. You will love your husband and wife like never before. You will literally, and I'm going to say this, you will cater to him because he will cater to you. Which means he will serve you. She will serve you. And the two will become one. Through years, you learn this. Marriage is not just something because you have some kind of agreement that you prove to people that you've been married for 50, maybe 100 years. And the point is, It's not the quantity of marriage, it's the quality of your marriage. What is the quality of your relationship? What is the quality? Have you ever sit down with people and say, hey, I've been married for such and such. I've been married but ask them, okay, and what is the quality of your marriage? What is the quality of your relationship? Remember this. This person that is with you right now, he or she doesn't have to be there. So stop that baloney that, we got married and this is the way. No. This person, he or she decided to be there because they want to be there. Not because you are sentimental, blackmailing against them. Don't do that in a relationship. But because your partner is happy to be with you, with all your flaws. Maybe you make him feel a better man. Or maybe he makes you feel a better woman. This person is in your life for a reason. A happy marriage consists of two imperfect people who refuse to give up. One more thing I want to say to you, and it's this. Marriage is two that are becoming one. Because they have good rewards towards their labor of love for each other. For if either fall, the one will lift up his or her partner. Woe to him or her that is alone when he and she falls. For neither one or the other has one or the other to help him or her. There are advantages to connecting with other, especially your spouse. Life is designed for companionship, not isolation. For intimacy, not loneliness. Some people prefers isolation, thinking they cannot trust anyone. We are not here on earth to serve ourselves. However, we are here on this earth to serve the Creator and others. Don't isolate yourself and try to go and do it alone. Seek companionship, be a team member, and connect with others. Until next time, Shavua Tov from Hers Yahudin.